United Shore Professional Baseball League action on this Sunday. Fun day presented today by our credit union. It's a big-time matchup with some playoff implications here this afternoon. The Westside Woolly Mammoths taking on the Utica Unicorns here today from Jimmy John's Field in Utica, Michigan. Jeremy Otto alongside Dan Griesbaum Jr. here from United Shore Media Desk on our Crest Lincoln pregame show. Let's talk about these implications right off the bat here today. For the Unicorns, there's a whole lot at stake because they don't want to play on Saturday. They just want to be the one team to play on Sunday. So do the Hoppers, though. Big time win for them, putting in them a position to take the #1 seed with a Unicorns loss or tie here today. Technically, if the Unicorns win, the Hoppers and them will be tied at the end of the day. But as you know, these new playoff implications ever since September, the Unicorns will win any tie they have. So if they win, they're in, and they're in the #1 seed as well, playing on Sunday for the championship game. If they lose or tie, the Hoppers will be the #1 seed. And what a resurgence it has been for these Eastside Diamond Hoppers. Come from the bottom back to potentially the top this year.
Yeah, they've always been a team that I think we felt pretty good about from an offensive standpoint. I think they were maybe not the pitching staff that we expected at a certain time, and going forward, I don't know that we're necessarily all that sure about them as a pitching staff. Who is their #1 starter? I don't even know that we know the answer to that yet. They could be the #1 seed, and we don't even know who their best starter is. I think we thought it was Noah Goetze, but he exited the game yesterday after I think it was 2/3 with what we appeared to be maybe some back tightness or something of that nature. Is it going to be Jamon Taylor? Who's it going to be? So I think, long story short, they would really like to get that 1 seed so they can go right to the championship game and patch it together from there. I think making them win 2 games in 2 days is definitely a steeper hill to climb for a team that isn't all that sure about their pitching at this point.
And for the Mammoths, there is a little bit at stake as well. They come in with 6 points here today. The Beavers lost yesterday in the second game of the doubleheader, which is obviously the game that matters towards the standings. And that means that they have 9 compared to the Mammoths 6. So theoretically, if the Mammoths win, they'd be tied with the Beavers. And we got to look at all the runs and how that's going to align here in September. And whoever wins that run scored battle will be the home team virtually on Friday.
Yeah, I believe just doing some math in my head, I think the Mammoths would have it if they do win today. So they would be the home team, which has some value to it on Friday. I think overall, it's a question of they've got to win 3 games. How are they going to line up their pitching for that? Are they just going to go all out to win that game on Friday and then patch it together from there? I think that's probably the way you have to do it. But one bit of good news for the Mammoths is they have a pretty good bullpen. So that can help. If anyone's going to win 3 games, it might be them.
Well, if you flip a coin, one side has Ty Hensley, the other side has Bobby Comitas. That's going to be a pretty accurate picture of who's going to start.
Yeah, I think the Unicorns, if they're not the 1 seed, if they have to win 2 games, I think they still feel pretty good about themselves. They've got a pretty deep bullpen. Bobby Comitas is getting used to starting now. Between the legitimate starts and the times where he's just been an opener for a bullpen day, I think he's starting to feel pretty comfortable with that. I think if there's anyone outside of a 1 seed that can win the championship, I would certainly put my money on Utica because of the pitching staff.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at your starting lineups for today's game, brought to you by AAA of Michigan, as always. First, let's check out the visiting Westside Woolly Mammoths here today. Alec Olin again at the top for them and playing shortstop here today for the 2nd time this week out of need. Will Johnson bats second and plays left. It's Briggs, Capers, and Haffey in the middle for Paul Nickenbrugge here today. Isaiah Cullum batting 6th and playing catching here today as well. Landon Barnes, Keandre Jones, and Andrew McCoy rounding it out as they face Bobby Comitas here today. On the other end for the home Utica Unicorns, their lineup also brought to you by AAA of Michigan. It's the center fielder Aaron Takis leading off. John Hodo again bats second and plays second base. Frankie Luska in the 3-hole and plays left field. It's Bethan Court, Seth Strong, and Nick Snyder in the middle for Jim Estienne, with Jordan Hovey DHing, Malik Blaze playing shortstop, and Jordan Finney catching for the 2nd consecutive game here today. I think they like what they see out of Jordan Finney, and the bat has been there as well recently.
Yeah, you know what? In the last game out, he's caught Hensley pretty frequently. I think it may have been almost every outing the last month. but he threw 2 guys out trying to steal second base. You know, this league's got a lot of guys who like to steal bases and been very aggressive all year, and for him to throw 2 guys out in the last game, I think that's part of his reward starting again today. Honestly, I think they feel pretty confident with him back there now. And
the Mammoths probably the most aggressive team on the base pass in the league.
But yeah, quite possibly. Generally speaking, they have the most athletic type outfield. Jamal Howard did go down with you know, what looked to be a hamstring injury, but even so, they've got a lot of guys with good wheels, and they want to control that running game certainly. And I think Jordan Finney has proven that he could do that.
Now time for your keys to the game, brought to you by your Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. Dan, what do you got today?
For me, it's both managers, Paul Nickenbrugge and Jim Messian. Not so much that they have to make the smart decisions or, you know, outfox the other, but more so just how are they approaching this game from a pitching standpoint? Is it important enough that they're going to pull every string to try to win the game, or are they going to emphasize getting guys work more so? With the bullpen, is Bobby Comitas going to keep going? If he looks really good, is he going to keep going in this game, or is he going to come out no matter what after a few innings? You know, on the flip side, Ben McKendall's probably the most dependable starter for the Mammoths. If he looks good, is he going to stay in there, or are they going to mix in some of these bullpen pieces just to, again, try to get some guys work? Because even the Mammoths, with a 3 or 4 seed, they still don't play until Friday, so that is a long layoff, and how the managers approach that pending layoff may affect this game.
I'll take a look at those pitchers' numbers a little bit deeper when we get back at our pitcher comparison, brought to you by Denso, and break down these playoff implications even more right here on the USPBL Network. Stick with us.
Order Jimmy John's and we'll bring it to your car door. Leave it at your front door or have it ready for you at our drive-thru. Just use jimmyjohns.com or our app to tell us what sandwiches, drinks, chips, and cookies you're hungry for. When you want it and how you want it. We're ready.
Crack open a Budweiser and experience the refreshing taste of summer. Make every moment of summer count by picking up Budweiser today.
United Shore Professional Baseball League action presented today by our credit union and sponsored by the following: AAA, Ascension, Balfour Property Restoration, the Detroit Medical Center, DTE Energy, Dunham Sports, Dunkin' Donuts, Green for Life Environmental, Green Path Financial Wellness, Jimmy John's, your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers, Pepsi, Scott's, Summit Oral, and United Shore. We thank all those fine partners for what they've done for this fine season that wraps up here today in the regular season in our 70th game overall. Time to take a peek at your pitcher comparison today, presented by Denso, Ben McKendall, and Bobby Comitas. It feels like a Sunday, doesn't it?
It does. I feel like we've seen this before, haven't we? Now, Ben McKendall had a really nice outing last Sunday against the Unicorns, went 6 1/3. He allowed some hits. You know, he scattered 9 hits over that span, but didn't allow any runs. And, you know, he lived a little bit dangerously, but he had a good mix, good command, and actually finished with a very strong 6th inning. Got in some trouble in the 7th, but Dazon Cole was there for him and came through, and they won the ball game. It's a really nice start.
From what we hear, they're going to stretch Bobby Comitas out as long as he is doing well here today. I mean, this is a game where the Unicorns need a win, so I'm sure they also want to get a few guys in, but at the same time, winning is paramount when you talk about not having to play a second game in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah, and I think Bobby Comitas' stats certainly speak for themselves. He's been very effective in whatever role he's been in. I'm sure he's had a hard time really settling in because he's had so many different roles, but he's been a tremendous pitcher for them.
First pitch when we get back here on the USPBL Network.
We really were fortunate to get out when we did. Losing our family photos, our wedding pictures, can't replace it.
Can you imagine losing everything you've got? You realize that it's the little things in life that matter. Things that they thought were damaged and thrown away, all of a sudden they magically reappear. And you see the human spirit come back.
It's our pictures.
To be able to put you safely back in your home matters to us. People matter. People count. At Balfour, we're restoring more than property.
There's nothing better than a ball game at Jimmy John's Field and a cold beer from Midland Brewing Company. Hi, I'm Kyle, the head brewer at Midland Brewing Company, here to wish you a stellar time making memories at Jimmy John's Field. And we hope that you're living it up with a Copper Harbor Ale in your cup. You can find more of our selections here at the ballpark and around town at your favorite bottle shops too. We hope you have a ball at the game, and remember, enjoy responsibly. Let's play ball.
Beautiful day for a ballpark here today for a ball game.
I think it's a good day for a ballpark, frankly.
64 degrees here at game time. There's some wind blowing out to left center field, so we'll see if that plays a factor in the bats here today.
Well, we'll see. It's a couple of good pitchers, though, as we already talked about, I guess. But, you know, Bobby Comitas, he's a guy who hopefully will get stretched out today, and if this comes up on the wrong end for the Unicorns, he could potentially be the starter in the championship game on a Sunday. You know, you figure Ty Hensley's going to go first if they have to play on Saturday, but they'll need two starters in that scenario, and championship Sunday could be Bobby's if they get to that point.
Bobby Comitas, deep arsenal overall, the four-seam fastball, the slider, the curve, and the splitter as well. His last outing was a true opener appearance. Just one inning, no walks, and one strikeout. He's done that 3 times so far this season.
And you figure if they do win this game, it'll be on Jim Messing to figure this out, but you can't help but wonder what type of a plan they'll take into that championship game. They've got so many pitchers. There's a lot of different ways you could go. Of course, you start with Ty, I think, but you know, do you just let him go as long as he can? Do you have a set plan where you go to some of these bullpen pieces, Comitas and Goodson and Clenny, and you know, there's a lot of good ones there. Do you play matchup with certain hitters? I guess it's a good problem to have.
Bright day here today. That makes a difference this time of the year. I mean, we left yesterday and shivering
Yep.
at the end of the doubleheader.
It's really perfect in the sun today. Of course, we're not in the sun, but for those who are in the sun, I think they're very comfortable.
Steve Dawson on YouTube says, happy 23rd birthday to Luke Dawson from Mom, Dad, and Peter.
That's another pretty good bullpen piece, Luke Dawson.
Maria Briggs says, cheering from Charlotte, North Carolina. Let's go Mammoths.
We've got to knock off a few more states here.
We do. A commenter on YouTube that asked, did the Hoppers clinch first place last night? They did not. They set up a chance to clinch first place today with a Unicorns loss or tie, but if the Unicorns win, they will be officially tied with the Hoppers, which means that the Hoppers will be the first place team.
Unicorns.
The Unicorns, I beg your pardon, yes.
Unicorns have the tiebreaker between them and the Hoppers. So if the Unicorns win this ball game, they will be tied in points, but the Unicorns will be the #1 seed.
First pitch fastball is by Alec Olin at 1:05 p.m. right on time here today on this Sunday. 0-1. Nice looking curveball in for strike 2. 0-2 on Olin now.
A little slower than we typically see on his curveball. A little bit loopier.
68 miles an hour. Usually averages 72. Tops out at 76. Maybe trying something different there.
Mm-hmm. That one was a little quicker. I looked more like a slider, but I don't think it was as hard as a slider normally is.
Yeah, that's right around 79. That last pitch, 76. He's 40% slider altogether. When you put the 2-seam and the 4-seam together, 35%.
Now, at least on the ballpark gun last game, Bobby did touch 90. I believe that was the first time that he had done so with his fastball. I know on the official ratings here, I think we have him 89.3 as being his top, which, pretty close. But he had his top velocity in his last outing.
And they'd like to see him right around 89, 90 all the time with that fastball.
Yeah, I think if he could live there, if he could live at 90, that would be give him a really good chance to continue on to affiliated ball at some point.
Bobby's still committed to at least playing another year of baseball and wants to continue to develop. He's a guy that likes to look at the analytics, certainly. He did it all throughout college. Was up here in the booth a couple days ago looking for his latest and greatest in terms of spin rates and everything else that can be provided to him here at the USPBL. Sprint rates all pretty good, all over 2,000 on every pitch. Here's a 2-2. Poked it back.
It's good AB here for Olin. Seeing every, allows his teammates to see all the different pitches. Makes Bobby work a little bit. This is one of the jobs of a leadoff hitter.
He's got a 4-game hitting streak. 7 hits in total in that stretch. Hitting .344 in his last 10 games. And it starts with at-bats like this, and if he keeps having at-bats like this, he's just going to continue to hit at the leadoff spot for this Mammoths team because they haven't had a true leadoff hitter really all season. But this guy kind of settling into that role, has moved his walks up a little bit from where he was at. Good eye there, and it's a full count all of a sudden.
Really good battle.
And I'm sure the Mammoths don't necessarily know that Comidas is going to be stretched out here today, but a bat like this goes a long way from him not going maybe as deep as they'd like.
Sure.
Because he's not going to go 6 or 7, just because he hasn't done that all year. Flipped inside with the curveball for strike 3.
I think Alec thought he worked a walk there.
I think he had a couple balls that he thought were balls that were called strikes in that at-bat. Bobby Comidas continues to strike out batters at a pretty good clip. Also inducing 41% ground balls. 8 walks to 30 Ks on the season now. His 30th inning of work right here. ERA of 1.53 coming into play this afternoon. 1-0. Slider inside. Will Johnson, Lamar Briggs, your Zach Hart agency. 2 men due up here in the first inning. Johnson checking in at 182 in the average column. Does have 12 walks to just 15 strikeouts on the year. Trying to coax one right here in a 3-0. He does.
You won't see that much out of Bobby Comidas. 4-pitch walk. I think Will Johnson can thank Alec Olin to some degree for that walk.
And his walks are just slightly up in his last 2 outings when you look at it because of the 3-walk performance on September 11th. That was his second start where he's really been stretched out 4 innings and 56 pitches. He's thrown a 60-pitch outing. That was back on the 22nd of August. So he hasn't been a true opener fully lately. As ball one goes to Briggs. Here's the 1-0 on Briggs outside. Let's take a look at the rest of the defense behind Komitas here today. Brought to you by AAA. It's Luska, Takis, and Strong in the outfield. Bethencourt and Snyder on the corners. Hodo and Blaze, your double play combination with Finney behind the plate here today. And Nolan will go out to visit Bobby Komitas here. Look at the defense brought to you by AAA of Michigan. Expect something more. And a casual throw to keep Will Johnson close there. We talked about in the pregame show, this is a Mammoths team that likes to run. And runs in some unpredictable fashion at times.
Pretty athletic around the diamond. There's a couple exceptions there, maybe bigger guys that don't run like Russ Haffey, but for the most part, a lot of guys who are plus base runners. Even a bigger guy like Dre Jones runs pretty well.
Komitas delivering his first strike in 6 pitches there. Lamar Briggs ahead in the count 2-1. He just continues to hit well. Average at 300 even. Pop this one up. It's not going to reach the outfield. Snyder camping under it for out number 2. Now Scott Capers, the last shot here. Capers 323 in the average column. Certainly been a welcome addition with the bats and with the glove as well. He's been a stable catcher for Paul Nickenbrugge's team. Fly ball to left field. Luska trying to shield the sun there, and good job to haul it in all the way. Nothing becomes of the 4-pitch, 1-out walk by Bobby Komitas here in the first inning. We'll check Ben McKendall when we get back on the USPBL Network.
Looking for a great rate on a new vehicle? Introducing our credit union's Drive promotion with rates as low as 1.89% and no payments for 90 days. Or refinance and save on your current auto loan with our 1% lower guarantee. You can now get pre-approved and close a loan remotely with our convenient online application process. Stop in today or visit ourcuonline.org/drive to drive away happy.
As we continue to respond to COVID-19 in our communities, Ascension Michigan is with you in this, and we are doing what matters to keep you safe in our care. At our hospitals and sites of care across the state, Ascension Michigan has additional safeguards in place. We are limiting visitors, ensuring proper social distancing in our waiting rooms, offering more online visits, and performing rigorous procedures to clean and disinfect. Our care teams are delivering babies and performing surgery. Now more than ever, it's important not to delay your health care. Schedule your appointments. Make sure children are getting their vaccinations. And if you have an emergency, don't wait. Go straight to your closest Ascension ER. Thank you for continuing to protect yourself and our community by washing your hands, wearing a face covering, and social distancing. Our doctors, nurses, and staff are ready for you when you need us. This is what we do best.
Well, Dan talked about the outing for Ben McKendall in the last game. He did give up 9 hits, but went deep, 6 1/3. Deep as he's gone since July 31st. He pitched 7 innings that day versus the Beavers. This is going to be his 4th start in a row against the Unicorns. Did not give up a run last time. 1 walk to 7 strikeouts and 91 pitches.
He's not the type of guy who's going to dominate an outing with his stuff. You know, he's just hoping to be a guy that gives a lot of quality innings, mixes his pitches well, and he's got several different looks, both a 4-seam and a 2-seam fastball, a slider, changeup, and cutter. So he's a guy who can certainly keep you off balance and miss some barrels, get some ground balls, and he did that very effectively the last time out.
Aaron Takis right off the bat at the leadoff spot here today for the Unicorns.
First time, I believe, for him in the leadoff spot.
It's been Frankie Luska there most of the time since he got here. I think Luska may have hit cleanup his first couple games and then immediately switched over to the leadoff spot.
I think his debut was the first game I missed in the booth.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good one. Double and a homer. Drove in 3 runs. 2-1 on Aaron Takis. 3 hits last game for Aaron. His last 2, 5 for 9 with 4 runs scored. 2 doubles to his credit as well. Good to see this left-handed bat settle in. One guy where the launch angle doesn't necessarily affect his average. I mean, talked about how well he hit in the Pecos League. Now hitting 280 here in the USPBL has a launch angle of 29, which is right up there with the top of them here. Barnes can't get it over to first base in time, and Takis has himself a leadoff single. Hodo hitting second again here today for the Unicorns. Sound like the Fad Club is in the ballpark.
Yeah,
at least some of them here today.
Got some Hodo fans from Chicago.
333 for John Hodo. A little bit of a slow start after the first 2 sore games. Made a nice impact, but has figured it out since with the bat and has progressively moved him up in the order. Started in the 9 hole, then went up to 7th, and has been here in the 2 spot for the last couple weeks.
Does have the highest average in the league at this point. Don't know if we have a minimum AB requirement necessarily for a batting title, but he is in the lead right now.
Those flags are churning. Can't really tell whether that's going to be helpful or hurtful if you hit it to left field. Kind of blowing almost straight. Both the flag in center field and the Unicorns championship banner in left blowing in that direction. 1-2 here on John Hodo.
And will that one continue to fly this year? That's the question. The Unicorns banner.
Looking for back-to-back championships.
The Beavers did win back-to-back titles, 2017, 2018.
A lot of things at the beginning of the year certainly pointed to the Unicorns doing that. Hoppers have done a great job to even things out. These Mammoths got hot right before the playoff push. We really expected them to, kind of carry that right into this new format coming into today with just 6 points. The Beavers have been a little up and down. Runner in motion, the 1-2 is outside.
Big jump.
Takis swipes at TCF Bank, stolen base here in the first. Ross Haffey, your third baseman, you see him there, was creeping in. Now he backs up with the runner in scoring position, and 2-2 count on Hodo. Two-two pitch, just missed the outside. Frankie Luska, your Zach Hart agency man on deck, then Dom Bethencourt to follow. Boy, Aaron Takis just continuing to hit the ball well and leading his team to possibly a run here. This one sinks in. He had to hold up. Now he's in danger of being hosed at third, but Haffey able to block it, which will put runners at first and third here to begin the first.
That Hodo is becoming a singles machine, I'll tell you. He doesn't hit with a ton of pop necessarily, but he's making consistent contact and getting a lot of base hits.
Check the defense behind Ben McKendall here today, brought to you by AAA of Michigan. It's Johnson in left, Briggs in center, McCoy in right today. Haffey at third, Oland and Barnes up the middle, Jones at first, and Isaiah Cullum completing the battery here today. Ball one down low to Frankie Luska. Hitless in his last two. .260 in the average column coming into today. Fastball at 85 away, 2-0. So both of these pitchers having trouble getting ahead of hitters early on. Second straight 85-mile-an-hour fastball low, 3-0 on Frankie Luska. Bethencourt waits, and then Seth Strong to follow. Swinging on 3-0, and he swings through it.
Wasn't going to get cheated, though. They may think about starting Hodo here. 3-1 count with a run and hit. It'll give Luska the option to swing if he really likes the pitch, but if it's not a strike, it'll be ball four anyway, so Hodo's protected pretty well. Might be a good idea to start him here.
Short, cautious lead at first base. He does not go, and the bases are loaded as Luska coaxes his 14th walk of the year. Not the way that Ben McKendall wanted to start this one.
No, this is a troubling start for the Mammoths.
Just how these Unicorns drew it up, trying to clinch the #1 seed with a win here today. Cullum gonna go chat with Ben McKendall. There is no action in the Unicorns pen, so as expected, Bobby Komitas will go further than just a straight opener start here today. Bethencourt has 8 RBIs this year. He's hit for some extra base power, 4 doubles, a triple, and a home run. Nobody out, no room at the end. Ground ball to the shortstop. Oland beats it through. Hodo speeding his way around third base, and it's 2-0 Unicorns.
That's a base hit, but Olin has to at least knock that ball down. You can't let that get through and allow the second run to score. He had enough range to at least knock that down. Not necessarily an error, but it's just one of those things defensively that's notable. But the Unicorns doing their job here. Good time for a visit.
Paul Nickenbrugger going to come out and try to calm the storm. No outs, 2 runs in, runners on first and second. Seth Strong, another one of those bats brought in to the Unicorns team. Him and Aaron Takis, Colton Horner, all brought in to lift this offense. It's probably settling on the Unicorns end to see Aaron Takis start to turn it around. Delivers in the leadoff spot for the first time here today. Singled and came around to score in this first inning.
It's funny how we're 70 games in here and there's still so many unsettled things, with these teams. Like the Unicorns probably the best team in the league, but still unsure who their leadoff guy is, just as one example. Or the Hoppers not really knowing who their #1 pitcher is, and they're a possible #1 seed. That's how baseball is sometimes.
Big swing and a miss by Seth Strong.
It was a nice, what looked to be a changeup there, getting him out front.
Changeup, the third most used pitch for Ben McKendall. There's the fastball by him at 86. 125 average for Seth Strong. Coming in kind of that third wave of new players to the league. Saw an initial round of cuts after a month and a half, and then another one after the tryout. And Jim Essian just trying to bring in some more bodies that can hit. But a month ago,
Certainly made some good moves in that regard. They made some additions that have really helped this club.
Here's the 0-2. High. Slider that didn't break a whole ton there. On the ground to Barnes, turns to second in time. Over to first, got what they needed. Keandre Jones for the second out, and Luska advances to third base here with 2 outs.
They did need that badly. And Ben McKendall's got a shot to get out of this with somewhat minimal damage now.
Well, after a single, a walk, a single and 2 runs, a 4-6-3 double play comes out of nowhere, and Nick Snyder now the last shot to drive in another runner in scoring position waiting at third base here. First pitch slider outside. One and one on Snyder now. Curveball piped its way to center field. Briggs over the shoulder, got it. Big time catch to strand another runner waiting at third base. The 2 singles to lead off the inning by Takis and Hodo come around to score to make it 2-0. Unicorns. Time for Freaky Fast Trivia presented by Jimmy John's here this afternoon.
I got to stay hot here.
What does Carl give
Disney.
Russell as a merit badge in the Disney movie Up?
I never saw that movie. Don't know a thing about it. A merit badge. Let's go with an emu feather, just because that seems kind of random. A B, emu feather.
Ooh, soda cap.
Soda cap, okay.
Wow.
Anything I would have got right there would have been.
Freaky Fast Trivia presented by Jimmy John's again here today. Vivio's Bloody Mary Mix, voted the best Bloody Mary year after year. Visit us in Detroit's historic Eastern Market today.
I think one time we ought to have a Jimmy John's trivia question about Jimmy John's. Is that a little too out there?
No.
Sponsored by Jimmy John's, Freaky Fast Trivia?
Which following sandwich is not in their lineup?
Yeah. True or false, you have to ask for hot peppers on the veto. Definitely true. It does not come standard on the veto.
Is that something you do?
Yeah, absolutely. Does not come standard.
Let's say hello to everyone watching here today. Sarah Natushko, Maria Briggs, John Laurel. Checking in with us as well on Facebook. Josh T says that's how we like to start, Unicorns. You couldn't have drawn it up any better. Although maybe Komitas would have liked a 1-2-3 inning with a few less pitches, but he was able to work out of the 1-out walk in the first inning.
John Laurel, is that a UAD name?
It is. One of my co-best mans as well.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Best
baseball player, wasn't he?
Yes.
Okay.
Played at Madonna as well.
Right.
Ross Haffey, Isaiah Cullman, Landon Barnes. Your Zach Hart agency 3 men due up here in the second inning. Haffey hitless in his last 3, but he's got 6 walks in his last 4.
Been a little bit streaky this year for him.
Some of those intentional as well. We've seen a little bit more of that as the season has gone on. Blaze vacuums it up for out number 1.
Nice smooth approach there by Blaze.
I think that's one thing that Jim Essian and the Unicorns want to see here today is a little bit sharper defense.
Oh, yes. Comes vitally important in a postseason format. And I would say all 4 teams have really lacked sharp defense the last couple of weeks.
which is funny to see, and maybe some of it is attributed to the colder weather. You even talked to, some of the pitching brass here at the USPBL. I was able to run into Shane McCaddy while doing my rounds around the stadium here today before the game, and asked him about Ty Hensley's outing a couple nights ago, Garrett Chrisman as well, and he said, hey, it's the first outing where they've kind of dealt with the changing temperature. For most of the time, I mean, we've had some pretty hot and steamy weather throughout the summer. And he says he tells those guys particularly all the time, most of the time, you're not going to have your best stuff, which for Garrett Chrisman and Ty Hensley is really, really good. You have to find a way to make it work with whatever you have, whether it's 2 pitches that are on target or 1 pitch that's really working that day.
I think we've seen guys a tick down velocity-wise almost across the board the last week or so. Maybe a couple exceptions, but it's tougher to get loose.
Pop this one up to Strong for out number 2.
I don't know how much Strong has played out there, but he doesn't seem like an outfielder. Just on the surface, he seems so much like a first base DH type, big guy, left-handed hitter.
Second baseman, number 13, Landon Barnes.
Landon Barnes, 200 hitter checking into play today, has walked 10 times compared to 14 strikeouts. Has been a pretty solid force defensively throughout the year. Fastball rises high. Bobby Comitas would love a 1-2-3 frame here. His pitch count already at 28. I think right around 50 would probably be a target for him here today. I mean, this is a guy, remember, that really hasn't been stretched out since high school. I mean, all throughout college at Creighton and at St. Joseph, his 2 stops, he's coming out of the bullpen and back end rolls.
If you're giving me 50 as an over-under, I'm taking the over. I think they're going to try to push him a little bit today.
All right, we'll see if Dan is right.
Yeah.
He's been right on pitching the last few days. Back with more after this, and a 2-0 game in favor of Comitas' team.
DTE Energy customers can get their share of huge lifetime energy cost savings. How? By using our website. The Oslin's new programmable thermostat saved them a bundle. And their new efficient furnace earned them a hefty rebate. All over Michigan, people like the Oslins are saving. Why not you? There are always new ways to save at dteenergy.com/saveenergy. DTE Energy.
With soft tees, plush toys, team-grade snapbacks, and cozy crewnecks, we've got everything. Shop all the USPBL gear to rock your favorite team colors year-round. Go to uspbl.com/shop to see our full collection. Ask about local pickup too.
Jordan Hovey, Malik Blaze, and Jordan Finney, your Zach Hart agency. 3 men due up in the second. Productive first inning for the Unicorns. It could have been worse, though, if you're the Mammoths. We saw 4 straight base runners reach. Takis singled, Hodo singled, Lesko walked, and then the single by Bethencourt. Big-time 4-6-3 double play. Turned off the back of Seth Strong, and then the line out by Nick Snyder ended the threat.
I think a better case scenario is it could have been 1-0 instead of 2. As I mentioned, I think Oland was to that ball, had enough range to get to it and at least knock it down. Probably wasn't going to make the play, but I think he could have kept it in the infield and saved one of those runs.
He hasn't played much shortstop. He's played some infield, mostly outfield throughout the year. But you got to find a spot for him with how the bat has been going lately, for sure.
Oh, yes.
Hovey's been doing a pretty good job getting on base lately. His last 4, 3 hits and 3 walks combined. Shown good patience throughout the year, 8 walks in total. Slider down low. Gets a lot of called strikes on that slider in general. Had a couple in that first inning. His called strike plus whiff percentage, 33% on the year. Change up right around that level as well. Here's the 1-1. Fastball low. 2-1 on Jordan Hovey. Jeremy Otto alongside Dan Griesbaum Jr. to bring the call here today. Robert Sherby, our director. Katie Page, our graphics operator here today. Outside 3-1 on Jordan Hovey. And this is why he's been drawing a few more walks lately. Does just that.
Yep.
Second of the game surrendered by Ben McKendall. There is already action in the Mammoths pen. I guess that answers your question on how seriously they're going to take a home field advantage on Friday.
Right.
They are locked into that Friday matchup with the Beavers, but it's just a difference of who's home and who's away, which facility-wise isn't
right.
an
Doesn't
issue.
make a difference, right?
But, I mean, we talked about it a little bit yesterday. Could potentially save an arm if you have to go to the next day, or just have that advantage of knowing what you have to do in the later innings.
Right. It's better than not having it. That's for sure.
1-0 on Malik Blaze. He made a smooth play at shortstop in the first inning. Good to see that. Had a couple errors on Friday. And Ty Hensley kind of took it upon himself as his team was struggling defensively to say, hey, huddle up.
Mm-hmm.
And he's, at times, certainly that second coach on the field.
Yeah, he's been a little bit of a player coach to some degree this year, certainly from a pitching standpoint. He
comes out nearly every pitching visit, unless it's a pitching change.
It was interesting to see him get a couple of visits during that outing. And Coley Curry came out one of those times.
Really?
Yeah. Speaking about home field advantage, I was involved in a high school state championship game one time where the opponent actually picked visitors.
Really?
Won the coin toss and picked visitors.
Huh.
And it worked for them. Came out and scored top of the first. Ended up winning the game.
Guess it really depends on what team you have and what tempo you want to set.
Yeah, they felt good about their offense scoring first, and they had been doing that throughout their run in the postseason, and that's what they wanted to stick with.
Jordan Finney, the bottom of the order here today, but by no means a struggling hitter to this point. The average might read that at 205, but he's been swinging the bat much better of late.
Well, that was a bad sign for McKendall there, walking the 7-hitter and the 8-hitter, and they're not going to fool around.
So Ben McKendall with his shortest outing in a while. Jared Wright going to come in for him here. He'll face 9-1-2 still with no outs and runners on first and second in a 2-0 game. 3 walks in total here today for McKendall. 2-0 in favor of the Unicorns. They'll try to add to that when we get back on the USPBL Network. Stick with us.
The difference that we bring to pediatric care isn't just the fact that we care deeply about our patients and want to partner with their parents in delivering the best care for their children, because a lot of pediatricians can deliver great care. What we do differently at Campground Pediatrics is we offer a different environment to deliver that care, and we offer personal service in a way that many practices can't.
Looking for a great rate on a new vehicle? Introducing our credit union's Drive promotion with rates as low as 1.89% and no payments for 90 days. Or refinance and save on your current auto loan with our 1% lower guarantee. You can now get pre-approved and close a loan remotely with our convenient online application process. Stop in today or visit ourcuonline.org/drive to drive away happy.
Jeremy and Dan back with you here. Jared Wright taking over for Ben McKendall in the second inning. The Mammoths are not fooling around, down 2-0 and walking the first two batters to start the second inning.
Well, it's a guy who certainly has had success going long relief in the past. Did so back on September 4th against the Beavers. Andrzejczyk had a tough start. Jared Wright came into that ball game and had a really good outing, going 6 1/3 in relief. So not out of the question that he could be in that role, not just today, but maybe even in the playoffs. Be interesting to see if he has a good outing today, if he ends up being the starter on Friday as opposed to McKendall, who is, we were certainly expecting McKendall.
Wright's last outing on Wednesday wasn't all too pretty. 3 1/3, 7 hits, 4 runs, no walks, no strikeouts. Checks into play today with a 3.30 ERA, though. 46 innings, 14 walks to 36 strikeouts thus far.
Think he's going to bunt the ball here? Too early? Or do you think these runs are that important that they might move him up?
I think he's going to swing, just based off of what he's done lately.
I agree with you. I think he's going to swing.
Hovey and Blaze on first and second. They begun this inning with a walk.
And
We're all
of course
wrong.
he's bunting.
It's a good bunt as well. Dragged in front of the plate. Cullum hopped on it quickly. Allows Hovey and Blaze to advance.
Well, good baseball, certainly. You can debate whether or not you like to give up the out there, but he's a 9-hitter, have a chance to move up a couple of runners, and makes sense.
And a hot bat at the top. Aaron Takis singled his first time up to begin the rally in the first. Came around to score along with John Hodo. That's why this Unicorns team leads 2-0 to this point off 3 hits and 3 walks. First pitch to Takis. Fastball in for strike 1. That's the last thing that any team wants, is for this Unicorns offense to get hot too, right before the start of the playoffs. They've had innings where you can clearly identify, they've scored 7, 8, 9, even, the 3 or 4 run innings where it's like, yes, that's what's changed the complexion of a game. But sometimes when you enter a playoff scenario, in a one-game scenario where you're not doing that consistently, or you can't scratch across 2 here and 3 there and 1 there,
right,
doesn't always pay in your favor.
Sure.
Not saying that's going to be the reason why they lose or if they lose or anything, but it's definitely something to look out for. 1-2, piped it foul. 88-mile-an-hour fastball and got in on the hands there. That's right where the 2-seam and the 4-seam has averaged this year for Jared Wright. 2-seam 35% of the time, the 4-seam 17% of the time. Then the third used pitched fouled by the slider. Barnes. Good high hop. It's going to score a run and convert to second out. Jared Hovey crosses the plate. Also advances Blaze to third.
And that's a classic example of why you bunt them over. If that's a first and second situation, that's a double play, and you're out of the inning potentially if there's already an out. But they want to put every run away they can early in this ballgame.
They're hoping they can at least get a second run to scratch across after the first 2 men reached off the walk. Going to feel maybe a lot like the first inning as well. Oh, 0-1 on John Hodo. Dan said it his first time up. Singles machine. And for a guy who has some speed, that can be a big weapon. He's played a solid second base as well. Up the middle for the Unicorns hasn't been the most stable position. We've seen Blaze and Horner, or Blaze and Hovey, kind of rotate there at the shortstop position lately, but Hodo has been their everyday second baseman since arriving.
Right.
So that was important.
I'm drawing a blank on who used to play second base traditionally.
Bavley.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
Okay.
Ben Bavley for about the first month and a half, 2 months of the season.
Left-handed hitter.
Runner on third base here with 2 outs. Here's the 2-2. Good battle. You see John like that a couple times, though. He whipped the bat out of the right-hander's batter's box. He thought he should have been on top of that. All his hits have not been cheapies either. I mean, we're not talking about all infield singles.
No, he's pretty adept at lining the ball over the infielders' heads.
Whittled it off the end of the bat there. Wright gets off in time, trips, but good job by Jones to get the glove away as well. And that will end the second inning. 2 leadoff walks in the second. 1 comes around to score. It's 3-0 Unicorns here. I'll satisfy your cravings with Dunkin' Donuts snack and menu with the new stuffed bagel minis, new maple sugar snack and bacon, and Dunkin' roll-ups, including our new steak and cheese roll-up. America runs on Dunkin'. Price and participation may vary. Limited time offer. Here they come. The donuts in first.
Quick. I think iced coffee's going to catch him. He's got a better stride.
Iced coffee and hot coffee are head-to-head. Hot coffee takes the lead and got it as Donut went into the
Donut
Unicorns
he didn't even try to finish.
area there.
Just talking to the Unicorn bench players. Didn't even try to finish the race.
America runs on Dunkin'. More after this.
Introducing oat milk at Dunkin'. Get cozy by the cupful and creamy without the dairy with oat milk in any of our beverages. Oat milk is now at Dunkin'. Enjoy contactless ordering on the Dunkin' app. America runs on Dunkin'. There's nothing better than fall together with the signature pumpkin spice iced latte or pumpkin iced coffee. Pumpkin is back at Dunkin'. Enjoy contactless ordering on the Dunkin' app. America runs on Dunkin'.
Welcome back to Jimmy John's Field. Another run scratching across for the Utica Unicorns, but a really good job by Jared Wright coming in emergency relief for Ben McKendall in the second. McKendall surrendered the first 2 walks, and the sacrifice by Finney moved him to second and third. 4-3 a ground out by Takis for the second out, and the ground out right back to Jared Wright ended the threat.
Yeah, I think that pitching move was really twofold. One, Ben McKendall was obviously struggling. He walked the 7 and 8 hitters in the lineup, which is never a good sign. But also, I think they wanted to get Jared Wright some work. If they're going to have a shot at the championship, he's going to have to probably start a game or go very significant innings. So it makes some sense to get him in there and see what he's got.
Here's Keandre Jones leading things off. 185 in the average column for this power hitter. Has hiked up his on-base percentage a little bit lately. He's been hit quite a bit, has walked a few more times. Looks at a ball up high. Jamal Howard, the other power threat, usually coming off the bench.
Look at that
for this Mammoths team.
They try to crowd him. I mean, some of it is strategic. They do try to throw him inside. They don't want him to extend those big arms. So it's not a shock that it happens, but
he's probably sick of it at this point.
Yeah, it's really happening a lot.
The right fielder, number 4, Andrew McCoy.
Andrew McCoy, bottom of the order today for Paul Nickenbrugge. Alec Oland, your Zach Hart agency man on deck. He struck out his first time. Keandre Jones, the second base runner to reach. 1-2-3 inning for Bobby Komitas in the second. Will Johnson walked to represent the other man on base so far. It's the first batter that Komitas has hit this year.
I've seen the offenses of multiple teams do this every once in a while, and I don't completely understand it. Being down multiple runs and in trying to advance a runner. To me, that didn't look like a bunt for a hit. If it was, then I think he showed it too early. Advancing the runner with a bunt doesn't make any sense in this situation. You want to play for a big inning. Especially as a visiting team. The visiting team, you're always looking to go ahead. You play for the lead, not the tie. So really, you're trying to figure out a way to score 4 runs at this point. So a sacrifice bunt doesn't make any sense.
Swinging here and missing on an 85-mile-an-hour fastball. Comitas averaged 88 on the fastball last game, which is up from where he's been in the last 3 or so appearances. Been around 85, 86 so far today. It's off the glove of Finney, and Keandre Jones is going to advance that way.
Bobby's flying open a little bit. Not on every pitch, but he did on that one.
Which is not something he normally does. Talked to Shane McCaddy about Bobby before the game today. Really just talked about how he's able to locate more than one pitch usually for strikes. And he said, hey, in this league, that's going to get you some results. Nice bite to that pitch to the exterior. The slider at 79 for strike 3, his second K of the game. For Comitas, that is.
Really, it gets you results in a lot of leagues. You know, being able to throw multiple pitches and hit your spots with it. You can pitch a long time like that. Now with him, what's going to hold him back maybe from the next level is his velocity. You know, as we've talked about, it's going to be tough to get good looks if he isn't able to find his way into the low 90s. I don't necessarily think that's the way it should be, but it just that's the way it is.
Olin had a really nice battle with Comitas back in the first inning. Ended up in an empty result. I think he thought he coaxed a walk. It was a strikeout looking at a 3-2 pitch in the end. Went nearly 10 pitches deep. Runner on second base here with 1 out in the third. McCoy has coaxed the first out. Here's the 1-1. Outside. Slider there. Gets good swings and misses on that slider, 20%. Here's the 2-1. Lifted foul. Comitas' swinging strike percentage is pretty good, 15.5%. It's right up there with some of the best in the major leagues in terms of what they're able to produce. And if it wasn't for his fastball coming only at a clip of 7%, those numbers would be even better.
Oh, yeah.
Laser to Hodo on the ground. Sparks up for the second out.
Nice play.
Does advance Keandre Jones to third. I'll bring up Will Johnson with a big-time chance for an RBI here.
The left fielder, number 22, Will Johnson.
I think Will's a guy that we certainly expected to get his average higher than it ended up getting. Better hitter than his average shows, that's for sure.
The wrist certainly affecting him for more than a month's worth of time right after the All-Star break. Or the All-Star game. There's no All-Star break.
Right. No breaking.
Especially with how compact this season has had to be to get all 70 games in. Fluttering ball to center field. Takis was right on it. And that for the third out. Really good job by Comitas to scatter the leadoff hit by pitch. He has not given up a hit thus far today through 3 on the USPBL network. Time for JJ the Water Boy, presented by Michigan First Credit Union here today. The sun out. Yesterday it was pretty cold when he brought the water out to the base pass umpire.
It was. I think the umpire might have sent it back yesterday.
I think it was just a quick swig. Sal might take a little bit more here.
Yeah. Well, JJ's going to be a sad dog after next weekend.
Yeah.
He likes to work. Of course, he still works in the office, but it's not quite the same.
Do they have to do anything extra to socialize in large crowds with him? Not like there's a ton of crowds here this year. But
Right, yeah. Yeah, he's probably wondering what the heck's going on around here this year. It's like, come on, are people getting tired of me, or what's happening?
It's fun to catch up with JJ's trainer a couple weeks back from Happy Tales, one of the sponsors of the USPBL as well. Abby runs the merchandise stand. Merchandising in general here has had the fun role of working with him on the field this year, just with the limited people we've had in the stands and on the working staff side of things as well.
And not nearly as much merch flying out of here as normal, of course. Although I've certainly done my best to help that.
Yes. Seems like every week you're going down there and picking up a new item.
Still have my eye on a couple other things. We'll see. I haven't bought anything for colder weather yet.
Frankie Luska, Dominic Bethencourt, and Seth Strong, your Zach Hart agency three-men due up here in the third inning. Damage control really in both innings so far. Wright finished that. McKendall did pitch to the first after giving up hits and walks in the first 4 batters he faced. Just 2 runs came across to score in the first, and a lot thanks to Wright. He got 3 groundouts coming in after 2 leadoff walks, and 1 came around to score. Strike 1 to Frankie Luskey. He had one of those walks, stranded at third base at the end of the first. Like that breaking ball right there for strike 2. .79-mile-an-hour slider from Jared Wright. Both Wright and Comitas feature both the slider and a curve.
Looks like he started him out change-up, slider, change-up, which is maybe a little bit unusual.
Here's the 0-2. Fastball low and in, laid off. Luska walked on a 3-1 pitch back in the first. Stretching out, can't quite get it.
Nice job there by Luska to stay in on that slower curveball. You know, he saw 3 different pitches to that point, none of which were the curveball. And then he got the curve with 2 strikes and stayed back enough to ground it into right field with, you know, pretty good wood on it.
Snaps his 2-game hitless streak coming into today. Dominic Bethencourt had a single and an RBI back in the first, a couple RBIs actually, as Takis and Hodo came around to score. First it was ruled a error, and then they corrected that to a hit. And a ball that went through Alec Oland at shortstop. Wright has done a better job of establishing the strike zone since coming in. Only 1 2-ball count. That was to John Hodo. Between the 2-ball counts and the 3-ball counts, there have been 6 of them already in the first 2 full innings of work. Change up in for strike 2.
He's using that changeup more today than he typically does.
I mean, usually just 14%, which is his second least used pitch to the curveball. It goes 2-seam, slider, 4-seam usually.
Ooh.
Good location. We've seen that called, I think, in the first inning against Alec Olin, right around that spot. 2-2 though on Dominic Bethencourt. Same spot, same result.
Yeah, it's definitely out. Catcher was set up off the plate. 3-2 pitch. We'll see if they start the runner here, even though there's nobody out. Nope.
Swing and a miss.
That turned out to be the correct decision not to start the runner.
Big time first down as well for Jared Wright, his first K. Looks like the birthday boy, Dawson, warming up in the pen for the Unicorns. Tasker Strobel as well for these Mammoths.
It's interesting that Dawson is next. It had been kind of a pattern of going to Goodson right after Comitas.
I think Dawson will come out for the fourth.
I don't know about the fourth. I wouldn't expect him for the fourth. I would just expect him to be ready.
I'm with you. I mean, Comitas has only allowed 2 base runners here today. Hit the first batter he saw in the third and retired the next 3. Walked Will Johnson in the first and made sure nothing became of that. 1-2 on, or 1-1 on Seth Strong. He hit into a 4-6-3 double play. His first time up back in the first. That was big for the Mammoths. And charted that inning to not get too big for this Utica offense. Luska stands at first. He singled on a 1-2 pitch to begin this third. Strong ahead in the count. Guy with some pop, 2 doubles and a home run so far in his time here in the USPBL. Here's the 3-1. Runner moving low. Luska had a decent jump. Now sets up Nick Snyder.
It's the guy they'd love to get going a little bit in time for the postseason.
Yeah, just 1 hit in his last 4 games. Lined out to center field in the first. 2 doubles, 3 home runs coming into today. Big swing and a miss at a first pitch changeup there. He's been changeup happy so far here in the third. It's worked out.
Looks to be something he's consciously trying to throw more.
It's funny when you talk to certain guys about their changeup. For some, it's their almost #1 pitch.
Right.
Garrett Chrisman,
Goodson, yeah.
One of them. Goodson, obviously another. But for others, and it's much more tainted towards the vast majority, the changeup seems like the hardest pitch to master.
Yeah, it tends to be that way.
Bobby Comitas has said as much. He's tinkered around with 3 different grips.
That's why guys who do have a feel for it enjoy throwing it so much. Hitters don't see a lot of good changeups. They really don't. To the point where I think some guys were sitting on Chrisman's changeup in that matchup against Hensley. And they had some success with that. There were some changeups that Chrisman threw that they were right on him. And it almost looked unusual.
It's a big-time strikeout for Jared Wright. Second out here this third inning. Wright came into today 14 walks to 36 strikeouts. A walk per 9 of 3 and a K per 9 of 7.
Well, if he can keep things close here, after getting himself in a situation with a couple on and one out, that'll be a good accomplishment.
Wright's FIP is one of the best among the Mammoths. Days on Cole, Tasker, Strobel, and Travado. Tasker Strobel has the best, .79.
Yeah, those three guys you would expect to be up there in just about every analytic.
Here's the 0-2 to Hovey.
Ooh.
In there for strike 3.
Nice
Jared Wright strikes out the side here in the third. Swinging to Bethencourt, swinging to Snyder, and then looking to Hovey to cash it in.
The difference that we bring to pediatric care isn't just the fact that we care deeply about our patients and want to partner with their parents in delivering the best care for their children, because a lot of pediatricians can deliver great care. What we do differently at Campground Pediatrics is we offer a different environment to deliver that care, and we offer personal service in a way that many practices can't.
Congratulations to today's graduate of the game from Michigan Schools and Government Credit Union. At MSGCU, we're for teachers. That means anyone that's ever taught a lesson about anything in life, like how to tie a tie or how to pay attention in online school. We're dedicated to helping all the teachers out there achieve financial success. So if you've ever taught a lesson, MSGCU can help you get the most out of your finances with market-leading rates and low fees.
Senior Spotlight, brought to you by Michigan Schools and Government Credit Union. It's Brianna Skillian out of Troy High School. Going to be attending Alma College for a degree in elementary education. Playing soccer on Alma's women's soccer team as well. Involved in a lot of things at Troy High School, student government, Colt Crew, yearbook, student to student. She was the Superintendent Student Advisory Board member as well. Also voted as Miss Troy High in 2020. So congratulations to Brianna and good luck as an Alma Brit. Bobby Kamitas working his fourth inning of action here. He'll face the heart of the order, Lamar Briggs, Scott Capers, and Ross Haffey. Against Bobby Kamitas. No hits given up so far by him, just a hit, batter, and a walk. First pitch to Briggs, in for strike one. Lamar with a pop-up his first time up. There's another line drive. That's what he does best. Over the head of Luska all the way to the wall. Briggs around first base. Luska bobbles. Doesn't really harm the result in any ways. Briggs gets to second without any problem.
I'd say he's certainly in the top 5 of hitters overall this year in the league. You know, I haven't necessarily sat down and come up with exactly who my 5 are, but he's definitely in that core group of overall offensive performers, I think.
Say you put Briggs there. Scott Capers probably belongs there for his job recently, kind of leading the middle of this Westside offense. Zach Gray for the Hoppers. John Hodo maybe.
Yeah. Tends to be guys, with the exception of Gray, it tends to be guys who came in kind of midstream or a little bit late. There's some definite offensive upgrades as the USPBL season went on.
He's got a line drive rate of over 40%. I'd like to see how many times he's popped up, because I guarantee it hasn't been many.
Right.
About a week ago, his fly ball percentage was 0.
Right. He just hits line drives instead. Cam Comer, maybe, especially considering he's a catcher. He's somewhere in that mix.
That's true. Always been around the 280, 300 mark. Curveball inside. It was looking like Sam Troyer would be right there.
Right.
As well. He struggled since coming back from the broken hand.
I think something mechanically he could do to get better is to not choke the bat so much. He really wraps the bat in his palm, and that can harm your bat speed. It also hurts your point of contact. And I'm sure he's been doing it that way his whole life, so it makes it really difficult to change. But I really like to see hitters keeping the bat in their fingers more, almost like a golfer does.
Well, I'm intrigued to see what the guy at the plate right now, Scott Capers, can do when he gets back to affiliate ball next year. I mean, his career average in 172 minor league at-bats last year was just 186.
Right.
But you look at the pitching in this league, and you got to think he's facing the caliber, if not maybe a little better than what he faced last year.
Yeah, it's possible that he's just figured some things out.
1-0, line drive for him, too, down the left field line. Luska's going to chase it to the corner. Briggs is going to easily score. Another big-time hit for Scott Capers. Gets the Mammoths their first run.
You know, considering he's a catcher and a good defensive catcher at that, you would expect that he's got a chance to really turn the corner in his career by 2021.
His 6th RBI of the year. Graduate of Valparaiso in the Horizon League.
This guy certainly has a shot at being somewhere on that, all offense team, Silver Slugger type team. He's been a little bit more streaky than some of the others, but the good power numbers, and has certainly gotten hot at times.
Popped him up foul. 2 doubles, 5 home runs, amounts to a .394 slugging percentage. He grounded out to Blaze his first time up. Keepers at Valpo hit .245. Slugged .331. 20 career doubles, 7 home runs. 0-2 on Haffey. Now, given he's not playing every day here in the USPBL, which can, as a catcher, certainly wear you down. And that's going to be more of a reality next year when he goes back to minor league ball. You're going to play more every day. Sliding play by Takis to take charge for out number 1.
Did a nice job coming in on that ball. And because there's an open base at first, Capers didn't necessarily have to run to third if the ball landed. So coming up with that ball in the air was important.
Leadoff double. Double following that has led to the Mammoths' first run. 1 run off 2 hits and no errors. 3 runs off 4 hits and no errors on the other side. 50 pitches for Komitas. If this is a laboring 4th inning, I don't think you'll see him survive it. But you never know.
Right.
1-0 on Isaiah Cullum. Dawson has been lightly tossing for quite some time, and actually it's not Dawson anymore, it's Goodson.
Okay. Dawson may have been more of a longer relief option, and once Komitas pitched into the 4th, maybe they decided to shut him down.
Hits his spot, thought he would get the strike call, but not the case. 2-1. Cullum catching here for Paul Nickenbrugge. His bat that has picked up throughout this season as he's gotten more ABs has allowed Paul to DH him at times. Nate Grimes is actually unavailable here today for Westside if need be because of their short-handed nature today. Keeber out, Jamal Howard out. They're hopeful to have Keeber back next week. One out walk to Cullum, sets up first and second for Barnes. And that might be it for Bobby Comitas here.
Yeah, it looks like it. Jim Messian doesn't usually come out unless he's going to make a change. He's not the type of manager to go out there and talk to you about your pitch selection or your mechanics.
Donald Goodson going to come in a big spot here for the Unicorns. Runners on first and second. Bottom three in the order is due up here in the fourth. Bobby Comitas gets through the first three unscathed, did not allow a hit until the leadoff batter doubled Lamar Briggs here in the fourth inning. Why it's 3-1 in favor of the Unicorns here today on the USPBL Network.
At Priority Health, we're embarking on a new normal, embracing the changes needed to keep Michigan safe. While that may look a little different for everyone, Priority Health is here to help. With access to the care you need, the doctors you want, and the quality coverage you can afford. So you can get back to this, and this, safely, steadily, and with the smartest health coverage possible.
We're for people, the pioneers, the underdogs, the players, and the slow and steadies. We're for people, for who they are and who they could become. Yes, we're a bank, and some say our business is all about money, but that's an old idea. Because look past the money, and you'll see real human lives. We see it, because we're for people. Huntington, welcome.
Donald Goodson, Hoffman Dental pitching change here in the fourth inning. Going to come on for Bobby Comitas. 2.37 ERA for Goodson checking into play. 19 innings of work. 13 walks to 24 strikeouts. Lights it up with a 94-mile-an-hour fastball to begin things here in the fourth.
Well, he's here to get a couple of strikeouts, ideally, with inherited runners. And he can certainly do it with his arsenal. Low to mid-90s fastball, the Bugs Bunny changeup.
Started 4 outings back. Or actually, I take that back. Started 2 outings back. It was a 2 1/3 inning appearance. 4 hits, no runs, 3 walks to 1 strikeout. Followed it up with a 1 inning relief appearance. Walked 1 and struck out 1. Shane McCandy, one of the pitching coordinators here at the USPBL, just maybe attribute some of the struggles lately to coming into the game knowing he wants to work on a specific pitch and maybe just trying to perfect it a little bit too much in the game and allowing that to maybe make his pitches around it not as effective. But overall, they really like what this guy brings. Say, hey, he's a second coach on the field. That's the kind of mindset he takes to the game. Helps to have guys like Ty Hensley and Donald Goodson and Nolan Clenny. Boy, did Clenny gut it out the other day.
Sure did.
Swing and a miss. That's the second out here in the fourth inning, doing exactly what the doctor ordered.
He reached back and fired that one at 95. That gets on you. And as soon as you start thinking about that, that's when he brings out the changeup.
It's a fastball that's topped out at 98 this year, 97.7 the official numbers, but throws that changeup more than the 4-seam, or more than the 2-seam fastball. 37% on the change, 34 on the 2-seamer. That one at 96.
My goodness.
Spins inside.
He's almost exactly 50% between his two fastballs. But his changeup being 36, 37%, that's pretty high. You don't normally see pitchers throw that many changeups.
This is certainly a change of pace from Komitas as well.
Mm-hmm.
3 straight at 96, high and away, 2-1 on Keandre Jones. Runners on first and second with 2 outs. Capers has driven in the Mammoths' only run today. That was to begin this inning. Back-to-back doubles. The 2-1 away. And we have seen him throw some of his best velocity when he struggled at times to throw strikes.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Gets outside of himself a little bit and his mechanics suffer. Tries to overthrow.
Not saying that's what we're going to see here today, but in this at-bat, solo-wise. That one grooved in. Pop fly to right center, Hodo. Leaving it for Strong for out number 3. Heck of a job by Donald Goodson. Settling the storm for Bobby Komitas. He strands runners on first and second with less than 2 outs.
Hi, I am Allison with the Sports Performance Tip of the Game, brought to you by DMC Physical Therapy and Sports Medicine. As an athletic trainer, I often get asked when to heat and when to ice after an injury. We like to use the acronym RICE, which stands for rest, ice, compression, and elevation. So when an injury occurs within the first 72 hours or about 3 days, it's important not to use the joint and allow it to rest. Then you can introduce ice, which will help to relieve pain and control swelling. Compression, like a bandage wrapped around that injury, can also help minimize the swelling and pain. If it's an ankle or knee, gravity pulls that away, making it more difficult for the healing to take place. So it's important to elevate the injured area. There are fancy ice packs out there, but one thing we have is something in the freezer. If you're past the 3-day mark or 72 hours, you can start to introduce some heat to the area, or just simply move the joint to allow some natural blood flow. But after that, and you're returning to sport, I would also use ice if any swelling returns.
Check your checking. If your account doesn't get you pumped, amped, or geeked, make the switch to Genius Checking from Genesis Credit Union. It's just genius.
Reading program of the game sponsored by CGC Water and Hungry Howie's here today. It's St. Lawrence Catholic High School, really close to the ballpark, just down the road here in Utica, Michigan. Teacher Spotlight, Miss Shea.
I'll be honest with you, I'd never heard of St. Lawrence.
Really? The Mustangs.
Smaller school?
I don't know how large their enrollment is, but
okay.
not too bad at athletics overall.
Catholic League, lower division?
So that's a middle school.
Oh, that's a middle school.
Yeah,
Oh, I thought I heard you say high school.
Nope.
Okay.
If I did, I apologize.
Oh, all right. Well, that makes more sense because I don't know too many middle schools.
Hoffman Dental pitching change here today. Tasker Strobel taking over on the mound for Jared Wright, who goes an inning and 2/3 in total. Did strike out the side in the 3rd.
Tasker was real good against the Diamond Hoppers in his last outing on the 17th. Came in for the 6th inning. 2 strikeouts, had a real good slider down in the zone. Very key piece of this bullpen from the left side. What I think is a plus bullpen. I think if we were ranking the bullpens in the league, this one would be at the top, or at least, right there, I think, with the Unicorns.
Tasker, 10 1/3 innings of work. This is his 10th appearance, 9th relief appearance overall. 4 walks to 18 strikeouts. Five outings in a row without a run. Gave up 3 in his one start that he had. That only went 2/3 of an inning versus Utica Unicorns team back on August 28th. Behind in the count to Malik Blaze here, 2-1. Blaze, Finney, Takis, your Zach Hart agency. 3 men due up here. Poke to center. Briggs right on it.
He's had some good jumps today.
He seamlessly made that transition back from third base to the outfield. Primary outfielder coming into the USPBL, but he's played a lot of third base out of need. Jordan Finney had a sacrifice bunt back in the second. It was well placed on the first base line. Cullum, good job to hop right on it. Looks like John Murphy is stretching for the Mammoths.
John Murphy needs a bounce back outing, that's for sure. Can be another key piece for this Mammoth bullpen, but there's been some inconsistency there.
A sinker. It's going to hang up long enough for McCoy, though, for the second out. 2 up and 2 down for Tasker Strobel. That's exactly what they wanted here. I mean, if you can get 2 innings out of Tasker, the 4th and the 5th, maybe piece it to Dazon Cole at some point.
Maybe Travado if they need him.
Yep. Takis today, another productive day at the plate. Drove in his 6th RBI of the year. Got another single and a run scored.
Not a great ball to hit there for the first pitch of the at-bat. Hung in there on a breaking ball, lefty on lefty. That's a really tough pitch. If you have to hang in on that with 2 strikes, that's different than swinging at it early in the count.
Crowded him inside with the 90-mile-an-hour fastball. Nobody's taken advantage of this wind. It is kind of blowing out to left center field, which is the opposite direction it blows most of the time.
Right.
Tough pitch, and no signal whether he went. Did he? And now they're asking for the appeal.
That would have been very unfair to punch him out at that point. He could have run to first base and possibly beat it out.
So Takis is still alive here. Here's the 1-2. Johnson back and over a little bit and able to make the catch.
Not sure he saw it right away.
1-2-3 breeze of an inning for Tasker Strobel. He gets all the outfielders involved. Johnson, Briggs, and McCoy each make a catch here in the 4th inning.
Want to hit your home cleanup project out of the park? Well, making sure that your driveway is safe from damage? Rent a rubber-wheeled trailer from GFL and keep all of your bases covered. Our trailers come in 20 and 30-yard sizes for all your cleanup needs. Call GFL today to order your driveway-safe rubber-wheeled trailer. Team GFL, helping you win your cleanup project.
When you need emergency care, you want your hospital to be ready for whatever comes through the door. Ready for any injury and any illness. Ready to respond at the speed of emergencies. That's why McLaren Macomb built a new emergency department with advanced technology, clinical expertise, and 68 private exam rooms. We're Macomb County's largest emergency department, and we're ready for you whenever you need us. That's emergency care at McLaren Macomb. That's doing what's best.
Be a part of the game. Be a part of the family. Be a part of the magic. Join the USPBL season ticket holder program and be a part of all of the best moments at Jimmy John's Field. Why? Because 2021 is gonna be fun. Purchase a 2021 season ticket holder plan or renew your existing plan today.
Donald Goodson out for his first full inning of work. Did a really good job to settle things down in the 4th. Bobby Komitas gave up his first couple hits and first run. Back-to-back doubles by Briggs and Scott Capers. Got Haffey to fly out, but then runners run first and second after the one-out walk to Isaiah Cullum. Goodson came in with a hefty fastball, averaging around 95 miles an hour. Struck out Barnes and got Keandre Jones to fly out. The threat was over, and the score remained 3-1. That's where we sit here as we head to the top of the 5th inning.
Paul had some movement on it. Finney had trouble even catching it.
Average fastball velocity this year, 92.5 for Donald Goodson. Lately, it's been 93 and above in his last 6. Club to left, and Luska is there for out number 1. Well, a reminder what's at stake here today. The Mammoths looking to get a victory to at least have a chance to be the home team in the first game of the playoffs on Friday. That's the 3 versus the 4 seed, so they'll take on the Beavers no matter what happens here today. The Unicorns with a win will clinch first place. A loss or a tie will mean that the Hoppers will get the number 1 seed into the playoffs and skip everything to Sunday. Sim mode, huh?
Right. It really does increase their chances of winning the championship by a really healthy amount. Just being able to skip over Saturday and also to line up your pitching for Sunday exactly the way you want it.
Leaving this guy hitless so far is a big deal. He's got a 4-game hitting streak where he's collected 7 hits in that stretch. The 2-0. Inside, 3-0 on Alec Olin. He's got a strikeout and a ground out thus far. In there for strike 1. Three and 1 on Alec Olin. He's been ahead of the count every time he's been to the plate thus far, and he gets a walk here. He thought he might have had one back in the first inning as well.
Right. Be interesting if the Unicorns go to Clenny to close this one out today or not. Not sure how much time off they want to give him after he got extended in that extra inning game.
Is that him jogging down the left field line?
I think it might be.
It is.
That game was back on the 16th, so that's 3 days rest. Probably enough to bounce back. Plus, you want to get him some work. You know, not going to play again competitively for a week, so.
Gap in left center field here for Wolf Johnson as Tackis shades him to the right of the second base bag. Olin scatters back to first. One and one on Johnson. Donald Goodson would love another shutout performance in relief. Starter at the beginning of the season turned reliever. Missed significant time because of the soreness. Had a few pitchers this year miss some time because of shoulder soreness. Not a real injury, really.
Right.
Diagnosed towards it. Goatse's one of them. Justin Rovels, another one who was slated to start game one of the doubleheader yesterday, ended up coming in relief before things were said and done.
Knock on wood, but I think there's been a relative lack of serious injuries this year. You know, not too many things significant that you can point to.
And we've heard some rumblings that maybe that's because we've gone with 7 innings this year. Really hasn't had to stretch the starters or stretch the relievers pitching in games where they otherwise might have been able to be off if it wasn't 9 innings compared to 7.
I think the 7 innings has created pretty good baseball, too. It's been exciting. The games haven't dragged on. You know, you talk about the younger fan and the attention span of the younger fan and things of that nature. I think it's worked out well for those who've been viewing with us on the streaming broadcast or the few that are in the stands. That's a nasty pitch.
That's really he hasn't thrown the changeup hardly at all today.
He hasn't.
Is that his first?
No, it's been a couple, but not many. 2 or 3, I believe.
His best, nonetheless.
Yeah.
Lamar Briggs comes up with a runner on first base and 2 outs. He doubled to begin the 4th inning, came around to score thanks to the Scott Capers double, following directly after that. Briggs, Capers, Haffey, your Zach Hart agency, middle of the order here today for the Westside Woolly Mammoths.
It's a big at-bat here for Goodson.
It sure is.
Look out.
Ouch.
Looked like a slider, I believe, that got away from him.
81 miles an hour straight into the back of Lamar Briggs.
Sometimes if you don't really finish your arm action with that slider, it can back up on you and kind of go into a right-hander as it did there.
It's the 3rd batter that Goodson has hit so far this year.
It's a chance for Capers to do some damage here.
2nd straight game that he's hit a batter, but other than that, his last 9 he has not. 1st and 2nd for a hot bat. Up the middle, through the 5-hole. Wow.
Nice job.
Hodo in perfect position. Stomps on the bag before Briggs able to reach. And a really good job by Donald Goodson to work out of a 1st and 2nd jam with one of the better hitters up here on the USPBL Network.
A great day for me is when the family heads to the local farm stand in our Chevy Traverse. We can enjoy a comfortable, scenic trip in its spacious interior and stay connected with available 4G LTE Wi-Fi. Add in the available hands-free liftgate and class-leading cargo space, and Traverse fits my life and everything that comes with it.
Lease a 2020 Traverse LT for just $279 a month. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City.
Start to finish, Crest Lincoln offers an interactive shopping experience ready when you are at crestlincoln.com. Explore our inventory and we'll provide you with a wide range of options so you can lease or purchase your next Lincoln remotely. Our online process allows you to complete the entire purchase from virtually anywhere. Plus, our team of experts are standing by ready to help. When it's time for service, we'll provide you with a Lincoln loaner clean and sanitized. At crestlincoln.com, we're ready for you on your terms. Visit us online today.
Kid of the Game brought to you by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan. Alec Page attends Clarkston Elementary. Age 8, loves watching aircraft and playing and watching baseball. Nice picture there with Randy Dobnak.
Nice. You got one or two of those cards yourself, didn't you?
Yeah, they're right here. It's become a pretty big stack. John Murphy, Hoffman Dental pitching change for the Mammoths here in this 5th inning. It's McKendall, Wright, Strobel, and now Murphy used so far here today.
It's a big outing here for Murphy. Came out on the 17th for the 4th inning against the Diamond Hoppers. He got 2 outs and stranded some runners, but came back out for the 5th and kind of came apart there a little bit, allowed 4 runs on 4 walks. Velocity was a little bit down from his typical levels as well.
Hodo, Luska, Bethencourt, 2-3-4 in the lineup, brought to you by Zach Hart Agency to face Murphy in the 5th. Strobel worked a perfect inning in the 4th. All contact. You don't often see that. He's often striking guys out at the back end of games.
Right. And you can hear the Hodo fans start to stir.
Hodo with a single back in the first inning, grounded out in the second as well. Murphy has given up 4 runs his last 2 outings, so 8 combined, all earned. 8 walks as well to 3 strikeouts. Before that had strung together some good outings. 3 straight scoreless. This one popped up. Cullum in our blind spot. Did he catch it? I don't think so. Nobody reacts like he does.
Hodo's still standing there, so I'm going to assume not.
Luska's reached base twice. Bethancourt had a 2 RBI single back in the first. That's what Murphy has to deal with in this 5th. Clenny is warming already for the Unicorns.
Interesting.
0-1, 92-mile-an-hour fastball and a swing and a miss by Hodo. Think we'll see 2 by Clenny?
I think so. I think they're not fooling around. They want this game. I mean, you may as well go for it now if it means you don't have to play again in an elimination game.
Two and two on Hodo. Middle of the infield really stretched out.
Yes.
Playing towards their respective holes. That one just missed. The 91-mile-an-hour fastball. 3 and 2.
Outfield's somewhat shallow as well. Looks like they're trying to cover as much possible ground in the area where, he hits so many singles. Quite a bat flip there on that walk.
He's worked 2 3-2 counts and a 2-2 count. That's also something he does a pretty good job of as well. Seems like he's always fouling off pitches. Reaching towards the outside. Frankie Luska today has reached twice. He's not been able to score thus far. Takis, Hodo, Hovey all capitalizing on runs. That's why the Unicorns lead 3-1 here in the 5th. Luska seems to be seeing pitches a little bit better. There was a stretch kind of in the middle of his season where he fell off a little bit offensively.
I'd be interested to know if he likes being more in the middle of the order as opposed to leading off. Some guys aren't super comfortable with that leadoff role. They feel like they need to take too many pitches or try to work walks.
Yeah, we've seen it a couple times this year with some of the better hitters. Is Hodo going to dance his way to second base potentially here? Yep, without a throw. Got away from Jones on the pick over to first base, and now you have a speedy runner just 180 feet away from scoring.
Unicorns would certainly love an insurance run here.
Here's the 0-2. Swing and a miss.
By him.
Big strikeout by John Murphy here in the 5th.
It's a great sign for him from a velocity perspective. He was really 87, 88 mostly in his last outing, running that one back up to 94. That's a great sign.
Dominic Bethancourt. RBI single back in the first. That's a big knock for Bethancourt, who's been struggling with the stick a little bit in the later stages of this season. Struck out his second time in a 3-2 pitch. Righty on righty for Murphy. Swing and a miss. 93-mile-an-hour fastball by him. So similarly between these two bullpens, two guys that command and control it with lower end fastballs in terms of velocity. Now the heat coming as we enter innings 4, 5, and 6 here. And you start to see some of these back-end relievers pitch earlier and earlier. I mean, that's a trend in today's baseball, certainly in the playoffs in general.
Oh, yes.
Hodo bouncing around at second base, staying there, and Bethencourt looking at strike 2. Taylor Jellikowski watching on Facebook. Hope all is well, Jelly. Well, he's been here at some points this season. Kind of mentoring some of these players, taking some swings in BP.
I like watching him hit a little bit. He can mesh.
1-2, good block by Cullum to keep Hodo at second base. 2-2 on Dominic Bethencourt now. Seth Strong, Nick Snyder, your Zach Hart agency men on deck.
Ooh. He wanted that one.
He's painted it in that spot a couple times here in the 5th inning, but hasn't gotten the call. 3-2 on the third baseman here for the Unicorns. We've had some good battles today. It started with Aaron Takis and John Hodo.
I think besides the command issues, which John Murphy's had plenty of, I think he needs to get to a point where he's throwing more than 15% off-speed pitches. You know, if he can get to 25%, that might make a big difference. They're just not respecting anything but his fastball at this point.
Of course, second walk of the inning.
Having better command would help him do that.
Seth Strong has a walk in this game. He also hit into a 4-6-3 double play back in the first. That's the 6th walk of the game in total for Nama's pitching here today. Not something they wanted to do. You see Hodo at second base. Always have to pay attention to him. Ross Haffey playing a little closer to the third base bag now. 91-mile-an-hour fastball butts Seth Strong off the plate a little bit there. Clenny's still warming. You'd think he'd come on in the next inning.
Yeah, it looks like he's planning on it.
Nick Snyder on deck. Then it would be Jordan Hovey. 5, 6, 7 in the order for Jim Essien here today. Hodo with a huge secondary lead. I mean, he's nearly halfway between second and third.
That was a good pitch there by Murphy. Saw the changeup, I think, for the first time. Got Strong out front of it. I think he should use that more.
Got him.
Again.
Snyder 0 for 2, leaves it up to him with runners on first and second, looking for some AAA insurance runs here in the 5th. Snyder line out, a strikeout as well, and it bats in his first and third innings. Fastball by him. 0-1 on the first baseman here today. Uncomfortable looking swing on the slider there. Clenny has completed his warm-up, it looks like, getting ready to come in. The 0-2. Waste pitch off the plate outside. Hoda led off this inning with a walk, then the strikeout to Luska, the walk to Bethencourt, and the strikeout to Strong has put us in this situation right here with 2 down. In there for strike 3. Murphy comes back and strikes out the side here in the 5th inning.
There's a couple of big strikeouts there back-to-back. That keeps his team in the ballgame.
Nolan Clenny coming out to pitch for the Unicorns in the 6th, taking over for Donald Goodson. Back with him after this.
At Priority Health, we're embarking on a new normal, embracing the changes needed to keep Michigan safe. While that may look a little different for everyone, Priority Health is here to help. With access to the care you need, the doctors you want, and the quality coverage you can afford. So you can get back to this, and this, safely, steadily, and with the smartest health coverage possible.
With us, you can expect something more. More guidance.
Do you trust me, Mom?
More dedication. More commitment. So you can celebrate today and be prepared for tomorrow. Insurance through AAA. Expect something more.
Nolan Clenny on the mound here for the Utica Unicorns. Upcoming games brought to you by Motor City Casino Hotel. Here today, all next week, all playoffs. It's fun to think about. Friday, 7:05, Saturday, 7:05, and then the championship at 1:05 on Sunday. The Unicorns with a win here today can clinch the Sunday game. You get a bye to the championship with the #1 seed here in the USPBL.
It'll be kind of strange for us not playing until 7 o'clock on Saturday.
It will. 1-0 to Haffey, rip back. 1-1 on Ross. Haffey had a ground out and a fly out in his first 2 at-bats. This is a bat at any moment that can make it a 1-run game. That's why you have him in there day in and day out. Playing third base here today. It's been a while since we've seen him do that.
It has.
Played a lot of first. Started as primarily a designated hitter. Well, we talked in length about Nolan Clenny's long outing over the week since he's done it. 53 pitches, 3 1/3 innings, 4 hits, did give up 2 runs, dealt with some rain, 1 walk, and 4 strikeouts.
That's a good sign for him to get that strikeout. It looks like his arm's feeling pretty good, at least as of right now.
He's had at least 1 strikeout in his last 6 games, and 5 of the 6, 2 and above. The one exception was against these woolly Mammoths last Sunday, actually. Has not earned a save in a couple appearances, but he earned the win
right
the last time around. 2-0 in there for strike one. 1.53 ERA through 29 innings of work, 8 walks to 40 strikeouts. Bethancourt staring straight into the sun, and wow, at the last second, they're going to call for the exchange. I don't think he's going to get that, though.
He didn't have control of it.
It is very bright. I think it's gotten brighter in the last 5 minutes or so of game action. Just reflects off the field. It's a runner on first with 1 out. Now Landon Barnes coming up. Well, Clenny's numbers reflect in a 12 K per 9 ratio and a 2.5 walk per 9. 5 more strikeouts to walks this year. Kathleen Garden comments on Facebook, says, what a beautiful day for baseball. Jimmy John's Field sure is. Holding on to the warm weather. We will have some more heat. Heat in the sense of the actual word.
Right.
Today it's only 63 degrees and very nice, but next week we're going to see a 79-degree day, I think, on Wednesday.
Yeah, should be some good practice days in there for these guys. And then the advanced forecast here, just looking at it right now for Utica, looks like beautiful days on Friday and Saturday for sure. It looks like Sunday could go either way. It's going to be warm enough on Sunday, but just a question of the rain possibly. Looks perfect for Friday and Saturday, at least as of now.
That's what we want to hear. Here's the 0-2. Ooh. Near the eyes of Landon Barnes. Every pitch up and in brought to you by Summit Oral this year. Runner on first base with 1 out. 1 strikeout already recorded here by Nolan Clenny in the 6th. Swing and a miss. There's 2.
That was a beauty. He's got that hard downward break to his slider. It has almost no horizontal movement at all, which most sliders do have some horizontal movement, but that one's just a 12-6.
Brings up Keandre Jones. He was hit by another pitch back in the 3rd inning.
Of course.
Seems like more often than not.
No, that one almost got him too. He's like, come on, man. I already got 1 today.
He's been hit 5 times. Make it 6 times in his last 10. Excuse me, swing to Bethancourt and gets it over to Snyder for the 3rd out here in the 6th. Nothing becomes of the 1-out error. Good job by Nolan Clenny to set him down in order virtually here in the 6th on the USPBL Network.
We build roads, bridges, wind farms and pipelines, schools to skyscrapers. Our members create monuments. We operate. We're the operators and mechanics behind the advanced heavy machines that move Michigan forward. We maintain boilers and HVAC. Our members run the complex heating and cooling systems that we all depend on. Our training is second to none, and safety is our priority. We are Operating Engineers 324, and we keep Michigan running.
What makes Detroit Mercy so unique is the fact that it's in the middle of Detroit. The urban setting is really fantastic to be a part of, and especially with their service learning programs, you really get a chance to be a part of the community.
My education here isn't just academic. This school wants you to be the best you that you can be. All aspects of the things that I do here have participated in giving back.
Detroit Mercy. Build a boundless future.
Well, here's a look at what's at stake here today. We've talked about it at length. This is the only game left.
This is it. 70 games. Hard to believe. It went fast.
It's a 3-point system for a win, a 1-point tally for a tie.
And for anyone who didn't hear us earlier, if the Unicorns do get this game and tie the Hoppers points-wise, they will hop them in the standings because they have the tiebreaker. So the Unicorns now 3 outs from the number 1 seed.
Dazon Cole taking over here in the 6th inning. A Hoffman Dental pitching change. Is sparkling .36 ERA coming into play here today. The best in the USPBL. 25 innings of work, so it's no fluff. 13 walks to 32 strikeouts. That's a strikeout per 9 of 11.5 for Dazon Cole. Both these managers using their bullpen aplenty. McKendall, Wright, Strobel, Murphy, and now Cole used here in the 5th. Kamitas, Goodson, and Clenny for the Unicorns.
Managers have done a nice job navigating this game. McKendall's start was a little shaky, but everybody coming out of the bullpen has done a pretty nice job.
First pitch slider ranges inside from Cole. Fastball, slider, changeup. It's a 2-seam that runs up as high as 98 so far this year. 93 the average. There it is at 93 for ball 2. Greg Shanahan now warming for the Unicorns. It was an 18-pitch 5th inning, or 6th inning, I should say, for Nolan Clenny. Got a couple strikeouts and a walk, or an error. 2-2 is low. 3-2 on Jordan Hovey now. He walked and scored back in the 2nd. Hovey, Hodo, Takis all coming around to score. Hovey and Hodo sounds like a law firm, huh? Pop fly. It's going to scoot back into the bullpen. Well, not sure Shanahan will be used unless he's needed, but he's been much better lately.
He has. Could be just getting his pen in here, or maybe he is getting loose just in case he's needed. I would expect Clenny to have the opportunity to finish this one out, though. It's also a possibility he could be getting loose for a situation where the Unicorns get a few more runs here.
True. Hey, you don't want to necessarily have Clenny go 2 unless he really has to, because he threw 50 earlier in the week like we discussed.
Yeah, if they get a couple more insurance runs here, they may decide to make the change. It's not going to be easy to do that off Cole, though.
Showing bunt, turned it back. It's for ball 1 outside. Blaze had a walk himself back in the 2nd, reached 3rd, but was stranded there by the time the 2nd inning was done, where they sent 5 to the plate. Trying to jab at it. That generally doesn't work. Strike 1.
He's got to get a little bit closer to the plate, too. He doesn't have coverage with his bat. That ball's middle away, and he felt like it wasn't a strike, and it was. You can see with his bat right there, he's not even reaching across half the plate. That's just not going to work. He's going to have to make some adjustments.
1-2 on Blaze now. Jordan Finney, your Zach Hart agency man on deck here.
See if they leave the bunt on here, if they take it off. I'm guessing they'll probably take it off. Especially considering those attempts didn't really look great.
Halfy's still edging in.
I was wrong again, as usual.
He does get it down.
Got it off the end of the bat. Got it down. Oh, look out. That's scary. Good job by Malik Blaze to slow up a little bit. That could have been much worse. And if you're Blaze, you don't, you're putting yourself at risk really by slowing up too.
Barnes is still down.
Yeah, they both took a pretty good impact there. The throw by Cullum kind of pulled Barnes into the path of the base runner. And he had plenty of time there. As a catcher, you really want to try to move yourself a little bit more to the inside to avoid that.
So both Barnes and Blaze able to get up here. Barnes looking to continue and Blaze jogging off.
Well, he successfully moved the runner up now. They're looking for one more base hit here to get an important insurance run.
Finney also had himself a sacrifice back in the second inning. He had not sent more than 6 to the plate. They did that back in the first. 5 in the second, 5 in the third, 1, 2, 3 inning in the fourth, 5 again in the fifth, and 2 here in the sixth inning thus far. First pitch in for strike 1 on Jordan Finney.
Ooh.
That pitch really hasn't been given to anybody so far today. One and one on Jordan Finney here. Make it 1-2. 92-mile-an-hour fastball by him. Ouch, off of Cole, and that's going to ping pong into right field. Around third is Jordan Hovey. He will score.
That's a tough break there for Cole, but I think it probably would have got up the middle anyway. Of course, we'll never know for sure now.
Wow. Off the, looked like the right cleat of Dazon Cole. Barnes trying to recover, not the best bounce over his direction, and it's a 4-1 lead for the Westside Woolly Mammoth, or for the Utica Unicorns here today in the bottom of the sixth. Trying to add more with only 1 out. Tack has lined out his last time up. We talked to him after the Unicorns' victory on Friday. Said he just really fit right in with some of his teammates to the USPBL. Sat on the Ty Hensley changeup.
Chrisman
changeup. Yep. Got himself 3 hits. Johnson going to snag this for out number 2. John Hodo, the last chance to extend the inning.
Gotta believe we'll see Chrisman in that game on Friday. So who do you figure, assuming this game ends the way it does, who do you figure is going to start that game for the Woolly Mammoths?
That's a good question. I mean, off time won't be an issue.
No.
Anybody
could start.
Turn around and throw. It's not a clear-cut answer right now,
no.
I wouldn't say. Maybe Jared Wright. This one outside of John Hodo. You have any thoughts?
I don't know. I wouldn't write off McKendall either. You know, not a great outing today, but he's kind of the veteran presence there, and I wouldn't write him out. I think Wright probably is the favorite, but it wouldn't shock me if it was McKendall either.
I'm with you.
I don't think it would be Andrzejczyk, especially since he didn't throw it all today. And I don't think they'd piece together a pen type day. I think that's something that they may have to do eventually, should they have a chance to get to the championship.
Yeah, I agree. That's not something you necessarily want to do right away, especially in the back-to-back-to-back nature. It's going to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There's no off days.
Right. It's a good pitch.
Tipped into the glove, and Dazon Cole does a good job to settle things down after the leadoff man gets on and scores. It was the walk by Jordan Hovey here today. Now time for your Metro Detroit Chevy Dealers race.
Holy hot rods, it's race time. Chevy Detroit wheels, start your engines.
Now here they come out of the left field gate. Petey Pickup coming out first.
I think Bella Air is going to come on strong around the outside here. I'm going to go with Bella Air.
Bella Air did that yesterday.
Yep. Well, Corey's picking up a little bit.
Petey Pickup in third. Bella Air in second currently, as it's going to go neck and neck, it looks like, to the finish as they start to speed it up a little bit here.
That's about as sluggish as I've seen Petey Pickup in a little bit. Has he got something in the bed there? Or?
Not sure, maybe. Yeah. Looks like Corey Vett might charge his way to the finish as they move past the first base dugout. Your Metro Detroit Chevy Dealers mascot race here today.
Well, as expected, Nolan Clenny is going to have a chance to put this one away.
He'll face 9-1-2. It's McCoy, Alec Olin, and Will Johnson.
Leading off for the Woolly Mammoths, the right fielder number 4, Andrew McCoy.
First pitch to McCoy, in for strike one. The only base runner given up by Clenny today was an error back in the sixth. Shanahan still warming if need be, or maybe it's just a pen, as Dan said earlier. Here's the 1-1. Over the top of the slider that time. Slider's been that go-to pitch. 44% called strike plus whiff percentage for Nolan Clenny.
It's double any of his other pitches, so it's pretty effective.
2-2. Whittled foul.
I think part of what makes it so effective is it's not very easy to recognize. The way it comes out of his hand and the way it has that 12-6 break as opposed to a side-to-side type break, you really don't pick it up very early. Oh, right there. Got him.
Third strikeout of the outing already. Looking for his 10th save of the year. He's going to lead the USPBL in save for the second consecutive year. Pretty impressive.
What do they call that in the major leagues? The Fireman Award or something like that?
I think so.
Remember seeing a photo of Willie Hernandez in 1984 with like a fireman's outfit on, holding an axe and the hat on and everything.
Well, those were different types of saves back then.
Oh, yeah. Oftentimes him and Aurelio Lopez, both of them would do the same thing, but 3-4 inning saves half the time.
Yep. Something how the game has changed.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the 0-2. On the corner for strike 3.
Wow. He's painting today. Yeah, Willie Hernandez had 9 wins that year, too.
Pretty remarkable. Will Johnson has reached once today, a walk back in the first inning. Flew out in his middle at bat in the third, and then a strikeout in the fifth as well. First pitch strike to Johnson here. Stick around for our Out of Lab post-game show. Catch up with the Comcast Business Player of the Game from the United Shore Media Desk. As Nolan Clenny looks to strike out the side here in the 7th and make quick work of these Mammoths. He is set and ready to go before Johnson is even thinking about getting back in there. The 0-2 pitch popped him up. Down the first base line, Snyder has it for out number 3. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Nolan Clenny, and he would have had a 1-2-3 if it wasn't for the error in the 6th, but quite the way for a 10th save for Nolan Clenny, and the Unicorns will clinch the number 1 seed in the playoffs with a win here today.
And that's a great return for Clenny coming off that extended outing that he has. Looks like he's 100%, which is a great sign for the Unicorns, and that's a very big victory. They're one victory away from a back-to-back championship here, and they're clicking on all cylinders, healthy, and there's no reason to think that they're not going to have a great shot at it. Can line up their pitching exactly the way they want for next Sunday.
We'll talk with our player of the game when we get back here on the USPBL Network. Stick with us.
If I hit a home run, then you know what's going out of the park. Yeah, bases loaded, we ain't letting up. Scoring back to back, you can count it up. United we stand together, divided we fall. Ain't no turning back, we done came too far to turn around and have a seat now. We don't compare, cause we unicorn. Illuminate the dark with my uniform. Every time you see me stand up and salute me. It ain't no competition, not even from you. If I hit a home run, then you know what's going out of the park. Yeah, bases loaded, we ain't letting up. Scoring back to back, you can count it up. United we stand together, divided we fall. Ain't no turning back, we done came too far to turn around and have a seat now. We don't compare, cause we're unicorns. Illuminate the dark with my uniform. Every time you see me stand up and salute me. It ain't no competition, not even from you.
Looking for a great rate on a new vehicle? Introducing our credit union's Drive promotion with rates as low as 1.89% and no payments for 90 days. Or refinance and save on your current auto loan with our 1% lower guarantee. You can now get pre-approved and close a loan remotely with our convenient online application process. Stop in today or visit ourcuonline.org/drive to drive away happy.
We really were fortunate to get out when we did. Losing our family photos, our wedding pictures, can't replace it.
Can you imagine losing everything you've got? You realize that it's the little things in life that matter. Things that they thought were damaged and thrown away, all of a sudden they magically reappear. And you see the human spirit come back.
It's our pictures.
To be able to put you safely back in your home matters to us. People matter. People count. At Belfour, we're restoring more than property.
There's nothing better than a ball game at Jimmy John's Field and a cold beer from Midland Brewing Company. Hi, I'm Kyle, the head brewer at Midland Brewing Company. here to wish you a stellar time making memories at Jimmy John's Field. And we hope that you're living it up with a Copper Harbor Ale in your cup. You can find more of our selections here at the ballpark and around town at your favorite bottle shops too. We hope you have a ball at the game, and remember, enjoy responsibly. Let's play ball.
What makes Detroit Mercy so unique is the fact that it's in the middle of Detroit, and especially with their service learning programs, you really get a chance to be a part of the community.
Detroit Mercy. Build a boundless future.
As we continue to respond to COVID-19 in our communities, Ascension Michigan is with you in this, and we are doing what matters to keep you safe in our care. At our hospitals and sites of care across the state, Ascension Michigan has additional safeguards in place. We are limiting visitors, ensuring proper social distancing in our waiting rooms, offering more online visits, and performing rigorous procedures to clean and disinfect. Our care teams are delivering babies and performing surgery. Now more than ever, it's important not to delay your health care. Schedule your appointments. Make sure children are getting their vaccinations. And if you have an emergency, don't wait. Go straight to your closest Ascension ER. Thank you for continuing to protect yourself and our community by washing your hands, wearing a face covering, and social distancing. Our doctors, nurses, and staff are ready for you when you need us. This is what we do best.
Throughout your life, from big moments to ones well-earned, we're your financial guardian angel. Alliance Catholic Credit Union.
DTE Energy customers can get their share of huge lifetime energy cost savings. How? By using our website. The Oslin's new programmable thermostat saved them a bundle. And their new, efficient furnace earned them a hefty rebate. All over Michigan, people like the Oslins are saving. Why not you? There are always new ways to save at dteenergy.com/saveenergy. DTE Energy.
This is a university unlike any other university. You will find out a lot about yourself and your career that you're going into. It's prepping me for the real world experiences that I will encounter once I do graduate.
With its many leadership programs and classes that integrate service learning into its curriculum, acts as not only a resume builder, but a character builder. And I couldn't put a price tag on it, and it will be invaluable to my career.
Detroit Mercy. Build a boundless future.
Catch the Chevy Malibu at your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Lease a 2020 Malibu 1LT for just $288 a month for 24 months. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City.
The difference that we bring to pediatric care isn't just the fact that we care deeply about our patients and want to partner with their parents in delivering the best care for their children, because a lot of pediatricians can deliver great care. What we do differently at Campground Pediatrics is we offer a different environment to deliver that care, and we offer personal service in a way that many practices can't.
Start to finish, Crest Lincoln offers an interactive shopping experience ready when you are at crestlincoln.com. Explore our inventory and we'll provide you with a wide range of options so you can lease or purchase your next Lincoln remotely. Our online process allows you to complete the entire purchase from virtually anywhere. Plus, our team of experts are standing by ready to help. When it's time for service, we'll provide you with a Lincoln loaner clean and sanitized. At CrestLincoln.com, we're ready for you on your terms. Visit us online today.